People are often told that putting themselves first is selfish. But here's the truth. When you ignore your own growth, your own energy, your own well-being, you drain the very fuel that allows you to give to others. Strength begins within. When you commit to making yourself the foundation of your own life, you expand your impact far beyond what you thought possible. Self-focus isn't arrogance. It's the engine that drives everything you touch. Imagine a sculptor who never sharpens his tools. No matter how much passion he has, without the right edge, his work suffers. But when he cares for his instruments, his creations inspire the world. In the same way, when you care for your mind, body, and spirit, you multiply your ability to uplift everyone around you. I once heard the story of a nurse who dedicated her entire life to serving patients, always working extra shifts, always saying yes to every request. People admired her for her kindness, but behind the praise, she was collapsing inside, exhausted, unfulfilled, and resentful. Only when she finally chose to create space for herself, exercising, reading, and resting, did she return stronger, more alive, more generous. Her work improved, her relationships deepened, and her joy became contagious. By investing in herself first, she became far more valuable to the people she served. Think of an airline instruction. Put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Life works the same way. If your energy is gone, if your patience is thin, if your confidence is broken, then those who rely on you will feel the consequences. But when you are centered, strong, and at peace, you become a safe harbor for everyone who crosses your path. This is why boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges. Saying no to distractions, empty obligations, and meaningless busyness creates the sacred time needed to move forward. Imagine treating this time as untouchable, like a priceless treasure. Use it to read words that expand your wisdom, to train your body for strength and clarity, to plan your future rather than only reacting to the present. Picture preparing your inner world the way a sailor prepares a ship before a long voyage. You mend the sails, check the compass, and stock supplies, not because you don't care about other travelers, but because you know that only a well-prepared vessel can rescue others in the storm. When you prioritize growth, you don't take away from others. You multiply what you can give. Your children get a parent full of life instead of fatigue. Your friends receive encouragement that comes from strength, not from obligation. Your community gains from your creativity, your wisdom, and your steady energy. And here's something even more important. Self-investment teaches the world how to treat you. When you respect your own time, others learn to respect it too. When you value your growth, you give silent permission for others to value theirs. By stepping into your own light, you show people that it's possible for them to shine as well. History is filled with people who understood this principle. Take Maya Angelou, for instance. Before she became one of the greatest voices of literature and empowerment, she spent years developing her own craft, her own clarity, her own strength. She knew that if she didn't honor her voice, no one else could. That decision not only shaped her life, it ignited generations. So let me say this to you. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. It is the cornerstone of impact. When you become the strongest version of yourself, you give the world something far greater than sacrifice. You give it your brilliance. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is this: I'll start when I'm ready. We wait for more knowledge, more resources, more courage, more certainty. We convince ourselves that once the stars align, only then will it be the right moment to take the first step. But here's the truth: that moment never arrives. Readiness doesn't come before action, it grows out of it. Think of how a swimmer learns. You can study technique, watch hours of tutorials, even imagine yourself gliding through the water. But real confidence only comes the moment you dive in, struggle for breath, and keep going until your body finds its rhythm. Life works exactly the same way. Every person you admire began before they felt fully prepared. Nikola Tesla didn't wait until the world believed in his vision before he experimented. Malala Yousafzai didn't wait until she felt fearless before she raised her voice. They moved forward while uncertain, and clarity appeared through the journey itself. I once knew of a young man who dreamed of building his own design company. For years, he filled notebooks with sketches, strategies, and big ideas. He attended seminars, listened to experts, and told himself he was getting ready. But preparation without movement is just another form of procrastination. Only when rising rent and necessity pushed him into action did he finally launch with the smallest possible offering. Within weeks, he learned more about business, clients, and creativity than in all the years he spent waiting. The experience became his real teacher. This is the hidden law of progress. Motion creates momentum. Small steps compound into unstoppable force. Write 1 page a day, and suddenly you have a book. Make 1 phone call, and soon you have a network. Train for 10 minutes a day, and over time you carry the strength of an athlete. It doesn't matter if the beginning feels clumsy, awkward, or uncertain. The act of starting sets a chain reaction into motion. Confidence grows. Lessons appear. Resilience forms. The very things you thought you lacked begin to emerge, not before the first step, but because of it. Think of Thomas Edison. He didn't wait for certainty before trying. He experimented thousands of times, and each so-called failure carved the path toward one of the most transformative inventions in history. His readiness was built in the laboratory of trial and error. So if you're standing at the edge of your dream, paralyzed by doubt, here's your reminder. The map unfolds only when you start walking. The staircase reveals itself only as you climb. You do not need perfect conditions. You need motion. Choose one action today. Just one. It doesn't have to be grand. It could be sending an email, practicing for 15 minutes, recording your first idea, or saving your first dollar. These actions might seem too small to matter, but in reality, they are the seeds of transformation. Imagine a snowball rolling down a mountain. At first, it looks insignificant, barely moving. But as it keeps rolling, it gathers size, speed, and unstoppable momentum. Your actions work the same way. Each step makes the next one easier. Each little win becomes the proof you need to keep going. And here's the beauty of it. Once you take that first imperfect step, the fear of beginning disappears. You realize it wasn't as impossible as you imagined. You realize you're capable of more than you gave yourself credit for. And suddenly, the world that once felt closed begins to open. So let me tell you now, don't wait for the perfect time. Create it. Don't wait for permission. Grant it to yourself. Don't wait for all the answers. Discover them on the road. The future belongs to those who step forward before they feel ready. And when you do, you'll look back one day and realize that your courage to start was the very thing that made you unstoppable. Most people believe resilience is something you're either born with or not, like eye color or height. They look at those who bounce back from hardship and think, they're just stronger than me. But resilience isn't a gift. It's a muscle, and like every muscle, it grows when you challenge it, when you train it, when you refuse to give in. Life will test every single person who walks this earth. That is not a possibility, it's a certainty. You will face loss, disappointment, failure, and change. But your happiness and success are not determined by the challenge itself. They're determined by your response. Think of Muhammad Ali. He didn't win by avoiding pain. He won by learning to endure it, to use it, to grow through it. Every setback became fuel. Every defeat became strategy. His resilience was not handed to him at birth. It was carved from countless hours of falling, rising, and refusing to quit. Resilience is built exactly this way, through practice. It's the daily choice to ask better questions when things go wrong. Instead of, why me? You ask, What can I learn? How can this shape me? What hidden strength is being revealed in me right now? And just like lifting weights tears down muscle fibers so they can rebuild stronger, life's obstacles create cracks in our comfort zone. With time, reflection, and courage, those cracks transform into greater capacity than before. I once read about a father who lost his job after 2 decades with the same company. At first, he felt broken, uncertain of how to provide for his family. But instead of collapsing into despair, he treated the crisis as an invitation. He began learning new skills, speaking with mentors, exploring opportunities he had once ignored. Within months, he discovered work that not only supported his family, but brought him greater fulfillment than the job he thought he'd never leave. That bounce back wasn't luck. It was resilience, built over years of choosing optimism, of asking what now, instead of why me. Here's the truth. Setbacks are not punishments. They are teachers. They reveal weaknesses that can be strengthened, directions that can be adjusted, lessons that prepare you for bigger victories. The difference between those who thrive and those who crumble is not circumstance. It's interpretation. Take Frida Kahlo. Despite unbearable physical pain and endless challenges, she transformed her suffering into art that still moves the world today. She didn't deny her wounds. She turned them into masterpieces. That is resilience in its purest form. But resilience isn't only about epic stories. It's built in the small daily habits that keep you grounded and strong. It's in the way you move your body, feed your mind, and protect your peace. It's in surrounding yourself with people who lift you higher, instead of those who trap you in negativity. Imagine resilience as armor, not the kind that makes you hard and closed off, but the kind that makes you flexible, adaptable, and ready for anything. When storms come, you don't shatter. You bend. You shift. You find new ways forward. And here's the most empowering part. Once you build resilience, nothing in life can truly defeat you. Obstacles stop being permanent walls. They become temporary detours. Failures stop being the end. They become preparation. Every challenge becomes another layer of strength, another reason to believe in yourself. So if you're facing something heavy right now, remember this. Resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about choosing to rise every time you're knocked down. It's about using the weight of hardship to forge the strongest version of yourself. You don't have to be fearless to be resilient. You only have to be willing to keep going. And with every step you take, you prove to yourself and to the world that you are stronger than you ever imagined. Too many people live their entire lives waiting for a stamp of approval. They postpone their dreams until a boss notices their talent, until their family supports their decisions, until friends stop questioning them. They sit in the waiting room of their own potential, hoping someone will call their name. But here's the reality. The world is too busy to validate your worth. Even those who love you may not fully understand your vision. And if you keep waiting for applause before you act, you may spend your whole life waiting. The difference between those who create impact and those who fade into the background is this: self-belief. It's the inner fire that keeps burning when no one else sees the flame. It's the voice that says, keep going, even when the critics are louder than the supporters. Think of Vincent van Gogh. In his lifetime, he sold almost nothing. Most people dismissed his art. If he had measured his worth by their opinions, his brush would have gone silent. But he kept painting because he believed in the vision inside him. Today, his work is celebrated as genius. His legacy proves this truth. When you believe in yourself, the world eventually catches up. Self-belief doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean ignoring feedback. It means using doubt as information, not as destiny. When people criticize, the confident person asks, "What can I learn here?" But they never let another person's disbelief override their own conviction. I once met a young woman who dreamed of becoming a filmmaker. Her friends told her it was unrealistic. Her family urged her to pick something safe. For years she held back, waiting for someone to say, "Yes, you're good enough." Eventually, she decided to stop asking for permission. She bought a simple camera, filmed a short project with almost no budget, and posted it online. That one video went viral. Opportunities followed, and it all began the moment she believed her vision was worth pursuing, even if no one else thought so. This is how self-belief is built. Not through affirmations alone, but through action. You make small promises to yourself and keep them. You commit to learning, showing up, and following through. Each time you do, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, capable, and strong. That proof becomes your fuel. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Every project finished, every skill learned, every obstacle overcome is evidence of your strength. Most people minimize their victories and magnify their failures. Reverse that. Become your own loudest supporter. Surround yourself with reminders of possibility. Read stories of people who began with less than you have and achieved more than anyone expected. Learn about Helen Keller, who turned silence and darkness into a life of inspiration. Study Galileo, who faced ridicule for his discoveries but trusted his vision. These are not myths. They are proof that self-belief is stronger than resistance. Because here's the truth. If you don't believe in yourself, no amount of outside approval will ever be enough. And if you do believe in yourself, no amount of outside doubt can stop you. Your vision doesn't need permission to exist. It only needs your commitment. So don't wait for applause. Don't wait for someone else to confirm your worth. The moment you decide to back yourself fully, the world shifts. You stop asking, "Will they approve?" and start declaring, "I choose this path." And once you make that decision, nothing, no critic, no rejection, no temporary failure can stand in your way. Because you're not powered by outside voices. You're powered by something deeper, something unstoppable, your own belief. When most people decide to change their lives, they imagine a dramatic overhaul. They want to wake up one morning and transform everything. Quit bad habits instantly, adopt a perfect diet, create a flawless routine, and suddenly live as a brand new person. But here's the problem. Human nature resists sudden, extreme change. When you try to flip your entire life upside down overnight, your mind and body rebel. The effort feels unsustainable. And within days or weeks, you find yourself sliding back into old patterns, more discouraged than before. Real, lasting transformation doesn't work like a lightning strike. It works like a river carving through stone. Slow, steady, consistent. A drop of water seems powerless on its own, but over time, those drops create canyons that last for centuries. Think of Albert Einstein. His breakthroughs didn't appear in one single flash of brilliance. They came from years of persistence, testing ideas, refining them step by step. Greatness grows through steady compounding effort. The same principle applies to every area of life. If you want strength, you don't need to train for hours on day one. Start with 10 push-ups. If you want knowledge, you don't need to read entire libraries in a week. Begin with 1 page a day. If you want financial freedom, you don't need to double your income overnight. Save a little each week and watch it grow. The secret is this. Small improvements compound. 1% better each day may seem like nothing, but over a year, it multiplies into something extraordinary. Momentum is the invisible force that rewards consistency. I once read about a man who tried countless times to get in shape. Each attempt looked the same. He would launch into extreme diets, long workouts, and strict schedules. And every time, he would burn out within a month, giving up in frustration. Finally, he tried something different. He committed to just 15 minutes of exercise a day, and each week made one tiny improvement to his diet. No drastic rules, No massive leaps. It felt almost too simple, but this time he stuck with it. A year later, he was healthier, stronger, and more confident than ever, and he knew he could maintain it for life. That's the power of small, consistent steps. They may not impress others in the moment, but they build results that astonish over time. Think of it like planting seeds. You don't dig them up every day to see if they've grown. You water them, care for them, and trust the process. Eventually, what was once invisible breaks through the soil, unstoppable. The same is true for your habits. Your future self is built not by one massive leap, but by the quiet discipline of what you choose to do daily. Bruce Lee once said, "Long-term consistency beats short-term intensity." And he proved it. His mastery didn't come from a single burst of effort, but from relentless practice, day after day, refining small movements until they became legendary. So if you've been trying to change your life overnight and wondering why it never lasts, shift your approach. Forget the dramatic transformations. Focus on small, repeatable actions that slip naturally into your routine. Because here's the truth. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every day. And those small somethings, stacked one on top of the other, create a life beyond what you ever thought possible. Many people believe discipline means holding onto a plan so tightly that nothing can shake it. But life doesn't work that way. Circumstances shift. Economies change. New opportunities appear while old ones disappear. If your success depends on everything going exactly as you imagined, you're setting yourself up for frustration. The people who rise are not those who cling to one rigid plan. They're the ones who adapt. Think of nature. A river never stops moving toward the ocean. When it meets rocks, it flows around them. When it meets a cliff, it falls. When it meets flat ground, it spreads wide. Its destination never changes, but its path does. That's adaptability. History proves this truth. When Beethoven began to lose his hearing, he could have surrendered to despair. Instead, he adjusted his methods, hearing music in his mind rather than through his ears. The result? Some of his most timeless symphonies were created after silence had entered his world. He didn't abandon his purpose. He simply found a new way to fulfill it. This is the secret. Stay flexible with your methods, but unshakable with your vision. Your goals may shift, your strategies may change, but your deeper why remains steady. And here's another truth. Learning never ends. Many people think education stops after school, as if a diploma is the finish line. But the world keeps moving. Technology advances. Ideas evolve. Entire industries transform. If you stop learning, you stop growing. Leonardo da Vinci never stopped studying. Anatomy, engineering, painting, philosophy. His genius wasn't born from talent alone. It was fueled by relentless curiosity. And the same curiosity is available to you. Each book you read, each skill you practice, each conversation you have with someone wiser expands your potential. Learning is not a burden. It's fuel. It keeps you relevant, creative, and prepared for opportunities others can't even see. It's the quiet edge that separates those who thrive from those who struggle to keep up. But even adaptability and learning need one more element to unlock their full power: purpose. Goals tell you what you want. Purpose tells you why it matters. Without a deeper why, goals turn into checkboxes, things you chase, achieve, and quickly forget. Purpose transforms work into a mission. It turns obstacles into meaningful struggles worth overcoming. It gives you energy when motivation fades. Think of Mother Teresa. Her life was not easy, her work was not glamorous, and her path was filled with hardship. But she lived with unshakable purpose, to serve with love. That purpose gave her strength beyond what comfort or convenience could ever provide. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand in the world's eyes. It only has to be true in yours. Maybe it's raising children who grow into kind human beings. Maybe it's building a business that solves problems. Maybe it's creating art that inspires, or teaching knowledge that empowers others. Whatever it is, it becomes the anchor that steadies you through life's storms. And here's the most empowering part. Passion without direction burns out, but passion combined with purpose and a plan becomes unstoppable. It becomes fire with fuel, flame with oxygen. I once knew a musician who spent years drifting from gig to gig, full of passion but without structure. He worked hard, but always felt stuck. The turning point came when he finally created a clear vision, not just to play music, but to build a career that touched lives. He mapped out his goals, created a plan, and aligned every action with his deeper why. Passion gave him the spark, but purpose gave him the endurance. Within a few years, his dream became reality. So let me leave you with this. Be adaptable. When one path closes, carve another. Keep learning. Feed your mind with knowledge that lifts you higher. And above all, live with purpose. Let your why guide your steps, fuel your courage, and remind you that every struggle is worth it. Because when you combine resilience, belief, action, consistency, adaptability, learning, and purpose, you become unstoppable. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect, but right now. The world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs the strongest, truest, most alive version of you. And that begins today.